Welcome to the video. So in this video, I'm going to show you an demo of end-to-end deployment of login or register UI on the AWS environment. So here I have two repository. So the first one, the GTS user registration login component. This is the UI component source code, and this is the identity service. It's a system responsible for the managing user authentication and authorization. So it typically handles the task like user registration, like allowing the user to sign up with the credential like email and password, and authentication means verifying the user identities, and authorization like a controlling access to a resource based on the user roles and permission. So we need to deploy this UI component into the AWS environment. Before moving into the cloud part, we need to test this UI component locally. So let's see. Firstly, we need to pull these two repository into our local machine uh, to test in locally. So here you can see I have already pulled those repository into my local machine. So we need to open these two with the anyone code editor. So here you can see this is my identity service. So firstly, you need to create the database for the local testing. So for that, in the identity service source code, uh, here you can see the file called application.yaml. So in this file, you can see the username and password for the local for the database creation or database connection. Here you can see this is the username and this is the password for the database connection. So now I will show you how to establish the connection. So you need to open the MySQL Workbench application. So when you open that application, you can see the plus icon. So click on that. So when you click on that, there is some small window is open. So in the connection name, you need to give the database name. So here you can find the database name. So GTS platform DB dev. So this is the name of the uh, database, and so in the host name you need to give the local host, local host. So after that, in the username field, you need to enter the username. So here you can see this is the username, GTS dev. So and you need to enter the password. So password for the database is GTS at 1234. So after entering the password, you need to click on OK and you need to test the connection. So when you click on the test the connection, so it will connect it to the database. It will connect it to the database. So, database. So after the connection was successful, so you need to create all these tables. So just give me a moment. So here you can see you need to create all these tables. So in the identity service source code, you can see the file called db script. So here they have mentioned all the script for the creation table. So you need to create all these tables. So without failing. So after creation of the database, you need to open the Postman application. So in the Postman application, you need to open the identity service. So here you can see uh, in the source code there is one file called Postman collection. This file used for the API testing. So now let's test the API. So in the URL section, so you need to give the local host along with the uh, 4728. So this is the port number where your identity service will work. So before that, you need to run the identity service. So open the identity service with help of the VS Code and go to terminal. So when you enter terminals, do the command nvn clean package. So here you can see the build was successful. So now you need to open your source code. So in the source code, open the target file. So here you can see this is the jar file which created when we gave the command mvn clean package. So you need to run the identity server. So for that I need to copy the path of the jar file and open the command prompt. So in the command prompt use the command java hyphen jar along with the path which we have copied and hit enter. So here you can see the server has been started. So now can test the API. So you need to you can use the Postman application for the API testing. You can enter the new user. So I'm giving Akash at gmail.com, and the GTS user password is you can give anything. So the password must be it must be include uppercase, lowercase, and special character. So here in the URL, you need to give the local host along with the uh, identity server's port number, that is 4728, and you can send a request. So it's showing the user email exists already. So try to give a new email. Now try to send a request. So here you can see the user registered successfully. So you can check in the database, go to the database, and in the GTS user. So here you can see the last entry which I have entered now. So this is the user details. Uh, it is successfully stored on the database. That means the application or the identity server running smoothly on our local machine. Now we can move to the next part. So you need to follow all these steps for the RDS also. So for creating RDS database, in the resource file, you can find the application.yaml. So in this file, you can find the username and the password for the RDS database. So this is the username and the password for the RDS. So we need to create the RDS. Here I have created already. So don't worry about this. I'm going to show you how to create the database. So click on create a database. So in the configuration, you have to choose the MySQL. So here you can choose the MySQL or any database you want. So I'm going to choose MySQL, and here you can choose the template whichever you are convenient. So based on your requirement. So here I'm going to choose the free tier, and here you need to give the DB instance name. So in the source code, you can find the name for the instance, DB instance. So you can give this name for the RDS instance, and here in the credential setting, you have to enter the username and the password. So in the master username, you can give the you need to give this username, and in the password section you need to give this one. So After entering the password, scroll down. So no need to change. Here in the connectivity, you need to create the EC2 instance and you need to connect this one, or you can connect the instance to the RDS after creating the RDS also. So and here you can choose the VPC security group. So you can choose the custom VPC security group, or you can choose the default one, and you can choose the availability zones also. So leave all the remaining configuration as the default and click on create database. So it will take some time to create the RDS. So you need to wait. So after creating the database, you need to establish the connection. So here I have already established the connection. Now I will show you how to connect the database. So click on the plus icon. So in the connection name, I need to give the name. So that is here you can find the name for the database, AWS Service Platform DB, and so in the host name, you need to enter the endpoint of the RDS. So when the RDS created, so you can find the endpoint. So here you can see this is the endpoint. You need to enter this endpoint in the host name section, and username for the connection you can find here, and the password is confined here. So after entering enter the all the credential, click on the test connection, then you can establish the connection. So after the connection was successful, so you need to create the all the tables. So after creating the all the tables, you can follow the steps which I mentioned earlier to do the API testing using the Postman. So the next step is you need to run the front end. So here is the front end source code. So in the VS Code, you need to open the terminal. So to run the front end, you need to install the Node.js and npm into your local machine. So after installing, so you can use the command like npm install to install the Node package manager to your system. So after give the command npm start. So this command is used to run the star script define the project package .json file. So it is commonly used for the Node.js or React and other JavaScript based project to start the development. So after running, it will redirect to your browser and it will open the UI. So that is the front end. So here you can see this is the front end part where you can interact with your application. So here you can see there are two buttons called login and registration. So now I'm going to explain how when the user try to register or log in through the UI. So in the source code there is a two files called login and registration components. So in the registration component, here you can see there is one URL called var URL, variable URL. So when you call the endpoint identity local, so it will fetch the user details from the local development database. So that means here you can see endpoint identity local. So that means it will redirect the user to the port number 4728. So that is a uh, port number for the identity service. So it will fetch the user details from there. So you can see API underscore properties dot API register. So that will redirect the user to the API register. So here user email. So it will redirect the user to this link. So when you call the uh, endpoint production, so this will fetch the user details from the production database, that is RDS database. So when the application is in the production environment, it will fetch the user information from the RDS database. So this is how the backend and front end will connect together, and it will help you to fetch the user details. The variable URL statement is forming an API request URL by the combining base endpoint, that is endpoint properties, and the API path, that is API properties JS file. So when you call the endpoint production. So this will send a registration request to the production environment. And when you call the endpoint identity local, so this will send a request to the local identity service, running on localhost, HTTP localhost along with the uh, port number. So this is how it will work when you try to register a user using the UI. So before running the front end part, make sure you have installed npm node.js properly. So if you doesn't installs those requirement properly, you may get error while running the front end. So before moving into the cloud part, let's see on architecture. So this is the architecture of the cloud environment. So here you can see the Amazon EC2. So here where we can deploy the backend part. So the Route 53. So Amazon Route 53. So DNS A records means it's a record is created in a Route 53 to map the domain like example like a GTS tech.info. So the domain to the elastic load balancer. So this is the elastic load balancer. So the elastic load balancer listen on the port number 80 and 443. So any request on the port 80 is redirect to the port number 443, that is HTTPS. So it's a secure transfer protocol. So the ELB then forward the traffic uh, to the EC2 instance where the application is hosted. And also need to buy the AWS SSL certificate. So the AWS certificate manager provisions and manage the SSL certificate. So the certificate is attached to the ELP to enable the HTTPS encryption. Then can the user can able to access the application via domain like GTS GTS tech dot info. So which result to the elastic load balancer. So the elastic load balancer securely routes to the application which is running on the Amazon EC2. Now let's see how to configure all these uh, in our AWS environment. This is my AWS dashboard. So firstly, I need to ensure your RDS instance is in the running state. So here you can see it's in the available state. So after that, so we need to create an EC2 instance to deploy backend. So here you can see this is my EC2 instance where I have deployed the backend server. So I will show you. So firstly, I need to clone the backend uh, source code into the EC2 instance. So you need to clone from the your GitHub repository. So before that, I need to install Java into your EC2 instance. So here you can see I have already installed the OpenJDK version 17.0.14 into my EC2 instance. So before cloning the source code, you need to install the Java. So after that, you can clone the source code. So git clone, using the git clone command. So here I have already cloned the repository. So here you can see this is my source code GTS identity service. So after that I need to transfer the jar file which you have created using the mun clean package. So you need to transfer that jar file into the EC2 instance. So for that you can use the command So here you can see this is the command used to transfer the jar file into your virtual machine. So use the command sudo scp -i along with the so this is the location of your PEM file for the PEM key and value pair for the EC2 instance to access instance via SSH, and this is the location of the jar file, and so this is the location where you want to transfer the jar file. So we want to add along with the you need to enter the public IP of your EC2 instance. So here you can see I have already transferred the jar file into my EC2 instance. So after that, you need to run this jar file using the command java f1 jar along with the path of the jar file. So after deploying the backend into the EC2 instance, you need to uh, create a application load balancer. So before creating the application load balancer, you need to create a target group. So this is my target group which I have created for the application load balancer. So I will show you how to create a target group. So click on the create target group. So, target group is needed primarily for the load balancing and traffic distribution when using the services like Elastic Load Balancer. So, it help you to routing and load balancing. So, the target group allow the application load balancer or network load balancer or the gateway load balancer to distribute the incoming traffic to the specific resources or the targets. So here you need to specify the which type of the target, which type of you want. So I choose the target type as instance. Here you need to provide the name for the instance. Sorry, target group, and here you need to specify the uh, whichever protocol you want. So here I'm going to select HTTP. So because whatever the request come to the HTTP, it will redirect the traffic to the HTTPS, that is a port number 443, and click on next. So when you click on next, the target group will be created. So after creating the target group, you need to create the load balancer. So before creating the load balancer, you need to request a SSL certificate from the AWS. So if you have an domain, you can send a request to the AWS to issue the SSL certificate, or you don't have any domain, you can buy the domain from the uh, Route 53. So Route 53 is the one of the service provided by the AWS. So it help the routers helps route user to the website by translating the domain name like example example.com. So into the IP address that computers understand. So when someone types your website name, so the route 53 find the right server and it will connect it to them. So it also manage the domain registration and can route the traffic intelligently for the faster and more reliable connections. Here you can see they will provide this type of service. You can register a domain or you can transfer a domain if you have already have a domain. So you can transfer into the AWS and you can create a hosted zones, and also you can configure the health check of your health check, and you can configure the traffic flows like that. So after buying the SSL certificate from the AWS, so you need to create a hosted zone in the Route 53. So the hosted zone is useful for the managing and validating the domain ownership and setting up the DNS records and ensuring the secure traffic routing. So when requesting an SSL certificate in the AWS certificate manager for the domain, so the AWS requires a domain validation. Either it's a DNS validation or it's a email validation. So if you use a DNS validation, so here you can see they have mentioned two type of validation method. So first one is the DNS validation and the second one is email validation. So if you select a DNS validation, so the AWS provides a CNAME record that must be added to your hosted zone in the Route 53. And so once you have a SSL certificate, you need to ensure your domain correctly routes the traffic to your AWS services like application load balancer or EC2 instance over the HTTPS. So in Route 53 hosted zone, so you need to set up a record or the CNAME record point to the application load balancer or EC2 instance public IP. So it will enable the HTTPS for the website for your website. So this is how you can send a request to issue the SSL certificate. Here I have already have an SSL certificate, and here you can see I have already registered my domain in the hosted zone for the domain validation. Here, this is my hosted zone name. So once you get a SSS certificate and configuring the hosted zone, so you need to create a load balancer. So after you get the SSL certificate, you can create a load balancer. Without SSL certificate, you cannot able to create a load balancer. So here you can see this is my load balancer. So I will show you how to create. Click on create load balancer and you need to select the which type of load balancer you want. I'm going to select application load balancer. Here you can see they have already mentioned. So choose an application load balancer when you need a flexible feature set for your application with the HTTP and HTTPS traffic. So operating at the request level, application load balancer provide advanced routing and visibility feature target at application architectures, including a microservice and container. So in this project, I am going to select application load balancer. Here you need to give a name for the load balancer, and you can choose the VPC. If you have a default VPC, you can select that, or you can create a new one. Here you can choose the availability zone and subnet also. So after you can select the security groups. So here I have selected the I have created the custom security group. So GTS security group. So in this security group, so in the security group, we need to open some port numbers, some ports. So I'm going to show you what are the ports you want to enable. So here in the inbound rules, we need to open this port. So port number 3306 for the MySQL Aurora for the RDS, and 4728. So this is the custom TCP for the backend server, which I have deployed on my EC2 instance, and port number 80 for the HTTP, and port number 22 for the SSH, and lastly 443 for the HTTPS. So you need to enable all these ports. So here in the listener and routing, so we need to add the listener ports. So when all the traffic whatever the traffic comes to the port number 80, so all the requests must be redirected to the port number 443 for that is HTTPS. So here you need to add the HTTPS, and you need to select the target group, and also you need to add the uh, port number 4728 for the backend server. So you need to mention all these three port numbers on the listener ports. So after that, here you can see uh, in the secure listener setting, it will asking for you for the SSL certificate. So here from the Amazon certificate manager. So when you select Amazon application, Amazon certificate manager, you can see the SSL certificate which will provided by the Amazon. So you need to select that SSL certificate, and leave the remaining configuration as the default, and click on the create load balancer. Configuring all these settings, like EC2 instance, target group, load balancer, security group, SSL certificate, and Route 53. So, lastly, you need to deploy the front end part using the AWS Amplify. So, let's move on to that. So, using the AWS Amplify, you can deploy your uh, front end part. So, the AWS Amplify is a cloud plus the development platform that will help you to build, deploy, and you can host a full stack application with the backend services. So, it is widely used for the web and mobile application. So, especially those built within the framework like a React, Angular, or Next.js, Flutter, or Swift. So, after opening the AWS Amplify, click on the Deploy app. So AWS will provide different ways to deploy your application like a GitHub, Bitbucket, or a code commit or GitLab, or you can deploy the code from your code without Git. That means you can deploy the source code from your local machine. So now I'm going to choose the GitHub. Click on next. So firstly, it will authenticate your GitHub account. Here I have already authenticated the GitHub account. So this is my repository. So where my front end source code located. So ATS Service Platform UI. So after click on next. So here settings. So here you need to add the environment variable. So why we have to set the environment variable? So we have to set the environment variable for the output and logs, and you can import the dependencies using this. So for that you need to add the key and value for the environment variable. So after that click on next. So before deploying an application, you need to ensure all the configurations are right. So you need to ensure. So after click on save and deploy. So it might be take some 5 to 10 minutes to deploy your application. So wait until it's complete. So it's still in the deploying state. So wait until it's complete. So here you can see the deployment was successful. So if you want to open your application, click on the domain link. So it will help you to redirect to your application. So here you can see the application was successfully deployed in the Amplify. So now try to register a user. So select a role. So I'm going to select trainee. So enter the email address and enter the password. So click on register. So showing the email is already exist. So try to give a new username. So here you can see registration is successful. So this is how you can deploy the UI component using the AWS environment. So thank you for watching this video.